Welcome to Warrior of Honor channel. The military conflict between Russia and Ukraine is in full swing, and today we will discuss the latest most important news. As we know, Ukraine has been at war for almost 11 months, since the beginning of 2022. Particularly interesting are Ukraine's attacks on the territory of the Russian Federation, which it inflicts from time to time with the help of its own means and weapons supplied by its allies. The first and most high-profile case was the raid of Ukrainian helicopters in Belgorod, where 2 aircraft entered Russian airspace, completed their mission, and returned unharmed to the base. Belgorod is located close to the Ukrainian border with Russia and north of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city. Ukrainian attack helicopters skirted Russian air defenses to execute the assault on the facility in Belgorod. The region's governor, Vyacheslav Gladkov, confirmed the strike, writing on social media that 2 Ukrainian helicopters carried out the operation. Ukrainian officials didn't immediately take responsibility for the attack. After that, Ukraine repeatedly continued to strike at military facilities near its border in order to reduce the offensive potential of the enemy. A number of strikes were carried out on the railway track, ammunition depots, oil industry depots, and other military infrastructure facilities. Given the Russian aggression on the territory of Ukraine, such strikes are completely legal and justified by Ukraine. Kyiv has for months urged its Western allies to supply long-range missiles, so it can hit Russian military bases far behind the front lines and puncture what Ukrainian military chief General Valery Zaluzhny has called the sense of impunity that Russia's physical remoteness provides. In early December, Ukraine demonstrated it could carry out long-range strikes without Western equipment after it launched locally made drones that hit 3 military bases deep inside Russia, one just 100 miles from Moscow. A Ukrainian drone is said to have struck an airbase deep inside Russia. While the Kremlin claims to have shot it down and taken it off course, 3 Russian servicemen were killed as a result of the strike. This is the second time the Engels Air Base, hundreds of kilometers away from the border with Ukraine, has been targeted this month, raising questions about the effectiveness of Russia's air defenses if drones can fly that far into the country. Russia's defense ministry said the incident took place in the early hours of Monday, and 3 servicemen were killed by debris at the Engels Air Base that houses the Tu-95 and Tu-160 nuclear-capable strategic bombers that have been involved in launching strikes on Ukraine. Engels is located in Russia's Saratov region on the Volga River, more than 600 kilometers east of the Ukraine border. No damage was inflicted on Russian aircraft, the ministry said. This is obviously false, as satellite images indicate that at least one of the planes was damaged. Such strikes are a very serious threat, given that these airfields can be used for nuclear strikes. By inflicting such a blow, Ukraine showed that even Russia's main potential, namely nuclear weapons, is not protected. On the night of December 26, new explosions rang out near the Russian strategic airbase in Engels, the heart of the Russian nuclear triad. From the video surveillance cameras, we saw blaze on the horizon, and in some videos of local residents, a siren can be heard. Ukraine, as in the case of the strikes on December 5, does not recognize whose drone it was. However, the explosions in Engels are a consequence of Russian aggression, said Yuri Ignat, the spokesman of the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. According to him, we still need to see satellite images to assess the results of the explosions, but it is already clear the airfield was smoked well. There was a strong explosion. If the Russians thought that the war would not touch someone in the deep rear, they were deeply mistaken. As we can see, such things are happening more and more often. Russia's military aggression brought war not only to the territory of Ukraine, but also forced Ukrainian forces to respond to attacks on their own land. Belgorod, Kursk, Shepakino, Engels, and many more Russian cities have experienced the experience of explosions and war. At the last Ramstein meeting in 2023, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky again asked the Allies to provide long-range weapons in order to prevent missile strikes many kilometers from the borders of Ukraine. Such strikes allow the Russian Federation to remain completely unpunished, since Ukraine does not have long-range weapons. The United States is refusing to supply Ukraine with long-range ATACMS that fire at 300 kilometers because they are concerned that the Ukrainian armed forces could hit them on Russian territory. Therefore, the UK is considering the transfer of its own analog of American missiles to us. In line with London's more progressive attitude towards Ukraine's military support, some British officials have expressed willingness to supply long-range systems. London's position on the issue of arms supplies to Ukraine is more aggressive in public. As a consequence, Ukrainian officials called on the British delegation to take the lead in today's discussions in Ramstein. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba believes that the armed forces of Ukraine will be armed with such coveted ATACMS missiles in 2023. The same applies to Western tanks and modern attack drones. We hope that Ukraine will be able to get all the means to protect its land and its people. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and support us on Patreon. It will help us improve our reporting. Strength and good luck.